Going back to this generation, a lot has changed over the past decade. What is your take on this current generation that we have?
Yeah, I've worked with I think all ages, and I also teach. Right, I teach industrial design. I
Is
used to
teaching
teach
also a passion for
Yeah,
you?
teaching is really a passion, right? Because they don't pay you much, so it has to be a passion. And I used to teach here in UP in Cebu. We founded with a group of friends the industrial design program, and then I became chair and a consultant for the College of Saint Benil, the industrial design.
Mm.
And we redid the whole curriculum there, which they're still using up to today. So the difference, I think, is that millennials today are more passionate about causes, but also you have to keep them always entertained, right? Uh, you know, I think a millennial can multitask, right? And so I think it's very hard for them to focus on one task, right?
Yeah.
And in
Short
class,
attention
short
span.
attention span. So we always have to entertain them, in a way. And it's the same in the office. I think millennials, when they realize their work is no longer challenging, that they move on, right?
Do you
And
sense a lot of entitlement these days, or
yes,
are there a lot of
definitely.
fresh new talent as well?
Um, there's a lot of entitlement, I must say, in the younger generation, and I think it's always because of social media. It's always the search for something that's better. There's something, everybody, you know how it is. They all live perfect lives on social media,
Yeah.
and
They like
so
to project
yeah,
a happy scenario,
that's right.
an
And
ideal.
so people at work or wherever they are, they tend to compare their lives with those of,
Mm-mm.
perfect lives on social media. No? And
So
the reality is,
they
it's really not.
they want things instant.
Yeah, they want things instant. It's instant gratification. Yeah,
How
but
do you find the work ethic of the kids these days?
I think they're softer, right, than what we were, than how we were trained. I think that they have a tendency to count, and
Mangwinta,
they want to earn. Yeah, correct. No?
instant.
Yeah, it's I think that sense of I'd say they have to be really passionate, right, about your cause, and they are, and they are, um, but it's very difficult to let them do something that they're not passionate about.
Mm.
And in work, sometimes you have to do things which you don't want to do because you have to do it, right?
Yeah, the reality aspect.
Yes, correct. Yeah, but it's a whole different generation, and I think each generation has its good and bad things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recently, we just came from a pandemic. Actually, I think we're near the end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
How did you cope during those very difficult times,
Yeah.
especially the year 2020?
Yeah. So actually, we never stopped during the pandemic. Production went on. In fact, the home market was strong, and we were stronger during the pandemic than before, because I think everybody was spending for their home. Everybody was in the house, and so they finally decided to buy the table or the lamp that they never thought
Mas
of buying.
natutukan ang
Yeah.
household items.
That's right. And also, daghan kayo na second homes, vacation homes,
Yeah.
diba? People are buying, people are what's this, no? And now it's harder because now we have to compete with travel, with fashion, with many other things. Back then, it was just the home, centered around the home.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw somewhere in another interview you did that you're running out of weavers. Is that a concern?
That is correct.
You
that is-
mentioned that they're aging,
Yeah,
so
yes.
no one can take over.
That's correct. That's the same problem, I think, in farming, no? In agriculture in the country. The average age of the farmer, the craftsman is 60. So,
Tiguang na jud.
so ang ilang pong, their kids are in college, no? Which is their dream. Diba? That's always your dream nga imong anak kaadtong college, katrabaho sa opisina, diba? So they don't want to do anymore this work, right? Now, this work is part of our tradition, part of our culture. the skill in weaving. We're actually the best, I think, in Asia, and we're losing it.
That's a natural, innate skill that Filipinos have.
It's a skill, I think,
That
yes.
hand.
Yes, the handcraft. But this is
handcraft.
yes, there are no formal schools for this, right? And I've been advocating that we should have a school for weaving, for all these techniques, because these are skills which are disappearing all over the world.
Mm.
So it's important, I think, for designers to find ways for these craftsmen to make a living and to prove to the next younger generation that there is life in crafts, in working with your hands. There's dignity, there's pride that comes from working with your hands.
Do they look down on being a weaver, or
I think in general, right? People look down on on people who I think
That
work with
kind
their
of
hands.
work.
When it's physical work, right? I think it's different. I think in other parts
Yeah.
of in the world, or especially in Europe, where craft, where working with your hands is a
Yeah.
dignified thing.
Okay. There are many upcoming designers. What's your advice to the younger generation? As we mentioned, there's entitlement. So,
Yeah.
what
I-
would your message be?
I think design, the role of design is to make the world a better place. Right? And there are many ways to go about it. I believe that it's not only to sell, but when you invent the perfect, a better cupcake or a donut or a interior of a restaurant, right? Or a better chair or a table, you improve lives. And making money becomes secondary.
A byproduct.
It's a
of-
byproduct, yes, but it's important. But I think it will come when you find a new way of doing things, or a
Mhm.
better way of doing things, right? It can be a better, whatever, product, chair, service, interiors. But when you find something that's unique in the world, then I think the money will come.
Yeah. Okay.